Good morning, Long Island, broadcasting live from the America First Media Campus. This is We Will Not Comply. I believe episode number 29, but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to lose count, which shouldn't really be hard when you think about it. It shouldn't really be hard to lose count of how many episodes we've done, since we only do one episode at a time, and we should be able to count up by one individually. But anyway, good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm still alive. Still alive from the Hot Ones Wing Challenge on Saturday night. Thank you to everybody who came out there and watched both myself and Kevin basically melt on stage. That was some of the craziest hot sauce I think I've ever had. There was one of them where I definitely almost took a little nap on the stage there. I got a little lightheaded. It was fun though. It was a good time. I had a great time. I looked like everybody else had a blast, and we also put together an amazing donation for Long Island Cares for the Thanksgiving holiday. So thank you again for everyone. Number one, for coming down and being a part of that night, and for number two, being so generous as you always are. The loud majority is always as generous and as giving. We like to give back to the less fortunate. So thank you guys once again for joining us on Saturday, and we'll talk more about that as today's episode rolls on. A couple things to kind of get to. There are a couple of events that are coming down in the future. That'll be happening either at the America First warehouse or in other places. We got some interesting things that we could talk about today. The episode of today's We Will Not Comply is the power of momentum. And I can't stress this enough. And I'm not saying y'all got to be crazy. I know sometimes I'm over the top with the momentum, with the energy, with the come on, we got to do it, 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 we got to do it. You know what I mean? I know sometimes some people are like, what on earth are you like? How do you do that? And I don't really know the answer. And I'm not saying everyone's going to be like that, but momentum is a strong thing. Momentum is a powerful force. Momentum is something that, when harnessed correctly, can be used to make serious change, make serious difference. And that is how I want to use the power of momentum. And we started to put together some momentum back in the beginning of this month, in the beginning of November, when the red tsunami came and washed over the great Long Island, and we won back some of our local seats. We saw it happen in Nassau County. Ann Donnelly and Bruce Blakeman. We saw it happen in Suffolk County, and the list is too long to name. The list is too long to read through. But you had guys like Dominic Thorne, Stephanie Bontempi, Manny Esteban, Ray Tierney, just a lot of big time wins out there in the Caracappa, big time wins out in Suffolk County as well. And so what we have here now is we have momentum. We've proven to ourselves that we can do this. We've proven to ourselves that if we work really hard, we put in the what they call sweat equity. We've proven to ourselves that our votes count. We've proven to ourselves that our message wins. We've proven to ourselves that despite being knocked around by the mainstream media, despite being knocked around by our ideological opponents, okay, you know who I'm talking about, despite being dragged and censored on social media, despite getting put in Facebook jail every other day. I haven't had that problem recently, but I'm sure it's coming. I also, as you notice, don't post on Facebook as much anymore because it's crazy. The communists, the fascists over there in Facebook. I see Andy Whitman also here in the chat. Andy also won his race. The islip receiver of taxes. He's a phenomenal man. Islip receiver of taxes by day and a pizzeria, I don't know, mobile pizzeria by night, huh, Andy? How are you? I mean, good morning to everybody who's jumping into the chat now. Good morning. I love it. Seeing everybody jumping in there. But we've proven to ourselves that our message wins. We've proven to ourselves that our ideas win. We've proven to ourselves that despite all of the things that are working against us, and there's a lot of things that are working against us. Number one, we're grassroots. Okay, it's not easy for something like that to take place when you're grassroots. People are going to try and come in. Things are going to try to get changed, right? We are grassroots, and I love that. I pride myself on knowing that, but I'm really excited that what we do is organic. It's genuine. There's a person-to-person aspect of it. There's a face-to-face aspect of it. Don't get me wrong. I love streaming with you guys every morning, but there's a face-to-face aspect of what we do that helps us win. What excites me the most is that I've talked to people from election day up to now. And I've heard that, oh, I didn't vote. Oh, I didn't know there was an election. And that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing because in that regards, we failed. I failed to broadcast it to everybody. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing because if you thought the red wave was big, there's a lot more out there. And that's the way I look at it. There's a lot more out there. There are a lot more people out there. There are a lot more people who think like we think, who want to do what we do, who want to get involved like we get involved. They're out there. They're all out there. There are people, I talked to people yesterday, they lived in Whitestone, and they didn't vote. I said, why didn't you guys vote for Vicky? They said, we didn't know there was an election. Okay. So now we know going forward, and everybody's going to know about 2022. Everybody's going to know about 2022 because 2022 is the midterms. 2022, you got all the seats, the congressional seats going. You've got Senate races up, a chance to flip the legislative branch in the federal government, and a chance to essentially deadlock the Brandon administration, right? You can deadlock the Brandon administration by taking over the House, taking over the Senate, and you'll have the opportunity there to finally start to reverse course on what they've done to the country thus far. Now, without further ado, I don't know if you heard the squeakiest shoes, there's a ghost in here. Because as you know, on Saturday, November 14th, was it the 14th? Oh my gosh. Wow. Saturday, November 20th. Yeah, it's getting bad. I'm forgetting days. As you know, Saturday, November 20th, Kevin was alive and then died. So I would like to formally welcome the ghost of Kevin Smith to the morning. Kevin, say hello.
Good morning, my neighbors.
Let me fix that.
Thank you everyone for your thoughts and prayers after that wing challenge. It was not good. Sean was kind in his review of the wing challenge and how he passed out a little bit. I did a little more than that. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. It was probably the worst voluntary thing I've ever done ever. Like, I won't say it was the worst experience of my life because let's be honest, it was hot wings, but it was the worst thing I've optionally done. It was the worst thing that I've ever voluntarily put myself through. So I hope everybody enjoyed those. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves, and yeah, no, like Sean said, we collected a lot of food, and it was a good night. It was a good night at the America First Warehouse, as it always is. Thank you, a big shout out to Joe the Box, who gives us his man cave to do all that sort of calamity and craziness. It's a good time, as it always is. But obviously, this morning we're talking about momentum. I would be remiss if I did not mention Wisconsin.
Oh,
obviously, we don't know all the information yet, so it would be irresponsible of us to comment on
motives
on motives or what happened, or it's still not totally confirmed who it was or why they did it, but our thoughts and prayers are with everybody out in Wisconsin.
Yes.
What
happened? What exactly happened? I got home from a jet game yesterday. I was on a couple of phone calls. I turned the TV on. Someone drove through a Christmas parade in Wisconsin.
Yes, it is unclear about whether he was intentionally, unclear about whether it was some sort of an attack or if he had been fleeing a prior crime, made a left and ended up in a parade.
Yeah, no,
but either way, it's those details are still sketchy, and
we don't know if anybody died yet.
Yes, there are fatalities. And apparently most of them are kids.
Young. Yeah, I saw there were a bunch of kids that were.
It was a high school marching band.
So yeah, that's what it looked like. I mean, it was so sad last night, and I saw that, a car struck a few people on you. You see how fast that car was going. I unfortunately was sitting there saying, it's going to be hard to survive that, especially if you're younger. So yeah. I mean,
and he came up from behind. Yeah. So these people had no real opportunity to brace themselves.
They didn't see it
or to get out of the way.
They didn't see it coming.
Like I said, we don't have a lot of information on it. We don't know why. We hope it wasn't anything. Well, who really cares what the motive is at this point? You know, the incident happened, but right. It's a tragedy, guys. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers and everything that they got going on out there. It's it's 15 miles from Kenosha. The neighborhood does not need any
5
more.
Dead. We're seeing here in the chat 5 dead and 40 plus injured.
Yeah.
So that's pretty terrible. And let's do our best. How about we do our best not to politicize? People died.
Not to inflame the situation.
All right, and it's like when people were asking me, and don't get me wrong, I thought it would have been really. There would have been a funny aspect to this. When people were asking me, you got to do the Trump on the Alec Baldwin situation. And I was like, I don't know, guys, someone died, you want to have respect for the people who were affected by this. Then your kids would have passed away here. So let's not politicize maybe, I mean, if we find out that the driver was a radical left wing, can we maybe leave it out of this one? The kids died here. I think we're dealing with dead children. I don't feel like
everyone
politicizing that.
Everyone knows what people are thinking this was. People are thinking right off the bat that this was retaliation for
Rittenhouse, right?
We do not know that. We don't know what it could have been, why he did it. Like I said, scattered reports are saying that he was fleeing a secondary crime scene, right. An initial crime scene.
He committed a crime, and now he's fleeing, and he wound up in this parade.
Yes, so we don't know why it was done, but let's do our best to not make the situation any worse. You never know what you put on Facebook or what you put on Twitter. God forbid some of the parents see a meme or something that you think is clever. Right. Let's just give it 24 hours. Let's let the police do their job, because we don't want to be like Joy Reid or these idiots on CNN.
Right, they just jump on something for the
sake of doing it. Right. We are not them.
No, we don't do that. But I will say one of my favorite Kyle Rittenhouse memes, which I'm going to do, was and I'm gonna see maybe if anybody in the chat knows anything here. But what is the difference between LeBron James, who's a phony? He's an absolute fraud. What is the difference between LeBron James and Kyle Rittenhouse? And the answer, obviously, is that LeBron James, unlike Kyle Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse, unlike LeBron James, does not miss shots under pressure. And I heard another one yesterday. What is the difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and Pfizer? Unlike Pfizer, Rittenhouse's shots are effective.
I mean, remember when we said we weren't going to joke about this?
No, we could joke about Rittenhouse shooting a pedophile all day long. I don't care about that guy. Rosenbaum, listen, I mean...
Not to mention, just in general, those were 3 of the ugliest people I've ever seen in my life. Like, the world got better looking after the Rittenhouse incident.
Yeah, Grosskreutz has an ugly last name. And
what's with the Gages? I feel like
his first name is Gage.
Once I see ear Gages,
I
go, you are not a friendly.
No, you are
not a friendly.
Probably
you
not.
Listen to a Treyu, you listen to a little too much My Chemical Romance in high school.
Oh boy!
But as soon as I see those ear Gages, I'm like, you're just not. Someone I think I want to spend time with.
Atreyu. No, I'll tell you,
or an alkaline trio, or
whatever they want to call themselves. I'll tell you, Did you see? I showed you the video, right? There was. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a video. It was Kyle and his. It was Kyle and his lawyer, and they were doing like a pretrial, and it was Gage
Oh my
Grosskreutz on the
God.
screen. His chair broke, and he went straight down.
His chair broke in his pretrial interview,
and he went
and Kyle
down.
Rittenhouse just started laughing his ass off.
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, you fall off a chair. Sometimes you fall off a chair, you fall down the steps, you slip on ice, whatever it is. It's hilarious. So
at least he was able to get up.
So we were talking about momentum, and I it's a topic that I like to talk about a lot. Starting out with fundraising, Breitbart News, the RNC has outraised the DNC in October by over $2 million. That is,
That's huge.
I would say that's rather significant, and that's the RNC. That's not a local organization. That's the Republican National Committee, and it is out fundraising, outperforming the Democrat National Committee. Now think about where the DNC is getting a lot of its funding from. They've got so many people on their side and they're struggling, right? This is what I'm saying. There are two entities here. There's the corporate entities, there's the media, there's all these people that come out, they push their narrative, they gaslight the hell out of the public, they gaslight the hell out of me, out of Kevin, out of you, they gaslight everybody, they try and force feed a narrative to you, right? You saw it happen in 2020 a couple of times. What did we see happen in 2020? We saw COVID, right? First and foremost, the China virus, okay? Which, again, when they say calling it the China virus is something that, can stoke anti-Asian hate. I think, quite honestly, the other way around, what they tried to do at the beginning of the pandemic was to blame bat soup because they knew that in Chinese culture, the people ate bats, right? So they took an element of their culture, they took an element of what they eat, and they said, that's what did it. That's why people aren't eating Chinese food, because the media told everyone stuff the Chinese people eat caused a virus.
And they've been doing this for years with the MSG and all that crap. I don't know. Maybe just, I don't know. Have a potato.
Oh,
good morning, Russell.
Good morning, Russell.
Congrats on the new place, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, Russell's our potato. His birthday's in less than a month.
Sean's right about momentum and what we need to do moving forward. I bring it up all the time. We used to have all 5 seats in the state senate on Long Island. They were called the Long Island 9. I worked with them up in Albany, and I want those seats back. So if you're in Nassau County, I have a bone to pick with Nassau. I want those seats back. I will be focusing mostly on those. We kicked the crap out of everyone here in Suffolk. Now we're going to move on to Nassau and upstate and get Lee Zeldin in office.
Yeah, we're gonna love to see that. And when you look at again this fundraising number and something that's again the media, they like to push their narrative on you. They gaslit us in 2020. They gaslit us over COVID. They gaslit us over racism, right? That cops were racist. They gaslit us over everything. Over and over and over and over and over again. I think people are finally getting annoyed with it, because if an entity like the DNC, with the media in its pocket, YouTube in its pocket, Twitter in its pocket, Facebook in its pocket, Google in its pocket, GoFundMe is blocking fundraising attempts to try and fundraise for Kyle Rittenhouse. Google is blocking searches for Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse broke my heart last night because apparently he's a BLM supporter. I didn't know this, but this is what he told Tucker Carlson. So yeah.
That interview comes out tonight, I thought.
Yeah, he said it already. They leaked that part. So whatever. I mean, look, you can support whoever you want.
Justice is justice.
Justice is justice. He shouldn't be in jail.
He shouldn't be in jail, regardless of his ideology, regardless of what he believes.
I think what he was saying was that he believes that, like we say all the time, that Black Lives Matter.
He believes in the sentence, not the organization.
Correct. I don't believe Kyle Rittenhouse is a Marxist.
No, I don't think so. I don't think. Well, he's from Wisconsin. And apparently rural Wisconsin. So,
right.
No,
I don't know if he's from Wisconsin. He crossed state lines.
Oh, right. He's from northern Illinois. So he's not from Chicago.
That was my other thing. Gage Grosskreutz, apparently he traveled further to get to Kenosha, but because Kyle Rittenhouse crossed the state lines, that's all the media wants. He shouldn't have been there. He was in another state.
Well, my favorite part of this whole thing was the whole Romeo and Juliet law. That
Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Yeah, no, you can't use the law. This is how I found this
That
fascinating.
face
Actually,
was so funny.
you can't use the law in bad faith against somebody.
Correct.
So that's why that gun charge was dismissed.
Correct.
Because he was allowed to have the gun, but because the law stated that you could only use it while hunting, right? But that's not what the intention of the law was. The famous Romeo and Juliet law is you got two kids that are 17, one's 2 months older, and the parents hate the guy, and then he turns 18, the parents call the cops for statutory rape. You can't use the law in bad faith against another person. That obviously that's not the intent of the law. The intent of the law in Wisconsin was not that you can only use it in a wooded area while searching for deer.
Right.
And that's what the prosecution tried to do. Man, did they screw this case
up.
The
Binger. Bongino thinks Dan Bongino thinks that they threw it on purpose because they had no case.
I'm actually scratching my head. Yeah. Like it's an actual head.
Your hair is like bad right there. Yeah, keep that hat on.
It's not great.
Woo! Yeah, the Farage head.
The only thing worse than my my hair, it was my tuchus.
Oh yeah, well, my tuchus is feeling the
my tuchus yesterday.
I just
that's my favorite Yiddish word.
Tuchus.
Tuchus.
There's a couple of Yiddish words that are really funny.
You know what word should be Yiddish but isn't?
What?
Spatula.
Spatula's not Yiddish, huh? That's Italiano. That I'm not sure.
No, I think it's just
or whatever. It's a word.
Or far-fetched.
Far-fetched should definitely be.
But no,
Yiddish
it's
word.
It was just like I'm curious to watch Tucker tonight to hear what Kyle Rittenhouse has to say.
Yeah,
he actually hasn't spoken out publicly yet.
Well, he couldn't.
Except on
he
the
really
stand.
Couldn't. But now he's going to be on Tucker. So we'll watch what happens. Again, I'm not going to.
It's amazing how many. And my mother was saying this the other day. It's amazing how many people know the First and the Second Amendment, but nobody knows the Fifth.
Oh, well, the Fifth,
you watch these crime shows, and these guys they get pulled in by some local cop, and they just sing.
Yeah,
they just talk. Everyone, just a little advice: if you're ever arrested, shut up.
That's it.
You are not smarter
than
the cop who is going to interrogate you. Shut up until the guy in the tie gets there, and then he will do the talking for you.
Right. Just
shut your mouth. Holy, even if you did nothing wrong. Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. He shut his mouth, and he got off, as he should have. If he had gone in there and tried to explain himself, and tried to do this, and tried to do that, who the hell knows where the kid would be right now? But he kept his mouth shut. He used his right to not self-incriminate himself.
Correct. Which the prosecution said, excuse me, are you hiding something? Whoa. Well, that is a precedent that thank God that judge stepped in, Schroeder, because if the prosecution in these cases, think about it, think about if anybody watching had a self-defense case, right? You had an issue where you had to shoot somebody. God, I hope you're never in that position. But you had to shoot somebody to save your own life. You had to kill someone or shoot someone with your firearm to save your own life. And you're being put on trial for homicide, right? And the prosecution has the nerve to say, well, you were awfully quiet for the last 5 months. What's that about? It's your right to do that. In order, if they're going to imply that you're hiding something, if they're going to imply that you're guilty because you're not incriminating yourself, they're trampling your constitutional rights. And the judge in this case, and it set the left off, because if you have a fair judge, otherwise known as a judge that's not in their pocket,
otherwise known as a judge.
A judge, right? A fair judge is supposed to be a judge, right? If you have a fair judge, right, they get pissed off about it. Because the fair judge is going to actually uphold the laws, uphold the Constitution. And the left doesn't like the Constitution. So thank goodness for Schroeder, Judge Schroeder in this case, coming in and saying, excuse me, that's not going to happen. Having my judgment mocked in my courtroom is not something I'm prepared to tolerate.
we can fit a liar reference into any situation. But what's important about this, and this hasn't really been talked about a lot, for the entire history of criminal proceedings up until about 300 years ago, you had to prove your innocence. America and Western common law is now about the prosecution has to prove your guilt, because quite frankly, I'll take some sugar and some milk in there. Thank you. For the last 200 or 300 years or so, the prosecution has had to prove your guilt, because for a long time, people had a difficult time proving a negative. You can't prove a negative. We saw this during the witch trials. How the hell do you prove that you're not a witch? You float. But now it's up to the prosecution to prove that you're guilty, and that changes the whole game. The prosecution, if you watched a lot of this Rittenhouse case, and moreover, before I get to that, do you ever notice that the left never uses cases where they're on the right side of things? So you have this case down in Georgia with Ahmaud Arbery. That, you know what? The guys down there, they probably crossed the line. They probably went a little nuts. They probably shouldn't have shot this guy. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case. What? Yeah, it's got to be Rittenhouse because they knew they were going to lose that case, and then they can use that on top in the box on top of the microwave. They knew they were going to use that case. I'll take two. They knew they were going to use that case to bolster their narrative that the system is unfair. They can't use the Ahmaud Arbery case where the system worked. These guys probably did overstep, and they probably should go to jail. They followed this guy with no real evidence and shot him in the street. But they're going to use cases like Michael Brown. They're going to use Kyle Rittenhouse, cases that further the narrative that life isn't fair for them. Now, remember, the same media that's going to tell you that Kyle Rittenhouse should go to jail for the rest of his life, the same media that's going to tell you that Kyle Rittenhouse faked his obvious panic attack on the stand is the exact same media who will not admit the fact that Jesse Smollett was not jumped by evil white supremacists. All right. Robin Roberts, Michael Strahan, George Stephanopoulos, the idiots on Good Morning America, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, Governor Nipplering's brother. They will not admit the fact that they got this wrong. I'm talking about.
Are you talking about my rings? You're going to
they're never going to
my rings.
They're never going to admit the fact that they got something wrong. They're just going to use the extreme case to prove their narrative. And this is the problem with the media today. And this is why we're not going to jump on the Wisconsin situation because we don't know all the facts yet.
And despite the fact that the media likes to go out and do exactly what they've been, like Kevin just described, that they're coming out. And there was another man. Oh, shoot. His name was Coffee. His last name was Coffee. He was an African-American man, a man of color, I believe. And he just was found not guilty. They go, if Kyle was black, he'd be in jail. Literally same day, a verdict of a black man who was just found not guilty on 5 counts of, I don't know if it was 5 counts of homicide, but it was multiple counts of murder. He was found not guilty, self-defense, black man. So they're going, if Kyle was black, he'd be in prison. Literally a black man up for the same charges.
Or how about the Texas school shooter? Black kid comes into school with a gun, blows a couple of his rivals away. And now this is Texas we're talking about here, where they give you the death penalty for too many parking tickets. All right? Sure. This guy got bail. He was given bail after he brought a gun to school, and I believe he shot 2 people and killed one of them. I may have those small details wrong about things.
Here you go. His name is Andrew Coffey IV. Nobody knows this guy's name. How about we talk about him?
When did this whole the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th thing start happening?
What, Louis VIII?
No, but like you see it on the back of NFL jerseys now and everything.
Oh yeah, Richard Sherman III.
When did this start happening? My favorite, the one guy in the NFL is I forgot what, but he's the first.
The first.
So he's just his name.
Oh boy,
does that make me Kevin Smith II?
Jury finds Coffey IV not guilty on murder and attempted murder charges. Now, folks, I mean, I'm going to put a picture of. He's not a white guy. I'm gonna tell you that. I can make that determination straight up. I'm not gonna say African American. I don't know his heritage, but I'm gonna tell you he's not white, and I can tell that with my own 2 eyes. And I can say this, everyone, Kyle Rittenhouse, if he was black, he'd be in prison. Well, I'm gonna read you a story about a black man who's not in prison. In a dramatic turn, a 6-person jury found Andrew Coffey IV not guilty on murder and attempted murder charges stemming from a fatal 2017 drug raid carried out by the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. But the jury did find Coffey guilty on a charge of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Okay, listen, he's a felon. He has a firearm. He's guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't a felon. He had a firearm, so they didn't slap that charge on him. But the point of the matter is, everyone wanted to make that entire assumption that if Kyle was black, he'd be in prison. Instead of it being attempted, they would have found him guilty on attempted homicide. They would have found him guilty on homicide. There's a black man right here. His name's Andrew Coffey IV. I'm exceptionally happy with the jury's verdict. They took a painstakingly long time to go through the evidence, go through the law. 30-page jury instructions, and they applied the law properly. This is his lawyer, said outside the courtroom after the decision was made. They came back with verdicts that were just. Okay? So for anybody who wants to tell you, and where is the media on this? Where is the media on Andrew Coffey IV? Nowhere. They're going to talk to you about Rittenhouse. They're going to maybe talk about the Ahmaud Arbery case, which I agree. The guy, they went a little too far in this one. They killed the kid.
You can tell how they do it because, okay, so CNN has two channels. They have CNN and HLN. Anybody who watches, the midnight killing shows, what the hell is that show that everyone falls asleep to?
Oh, which one? Stelter?
No.
Reliable Sources?
No. The killing show that everyone falls asleep to with the guy with the voice. Whatever.
In a world.
HLN, yes. HLN covered the Ahmaud Arbery case, a channel nobody watches.
Right.
CNN covered the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
A channel nobody watches.
A channel everyone watches if you're at Terminal B at Kennedy.
Or you're at Planet Fitness.
Yeah, or if you're at Planet Fitness and you're watching this right now, or you're watching CNN, be careful on the elliptical.
And don't put the weights down too hard. The lunk alarm's going to go off.
The lunk alarm's going to go off. But you can tell by the way they cover it because all their secondary networks covered the Ahmaud Arbery case. That way they can say, well, look, we covered it. We didn't ignore the story. We just put it on a channel that nobody watches. Who the hell puts on 101 on Verizon?
Right.
Nobody.
101 Dalmatians.
It doesn't even have an HD channel.
Oh, God, that's brutal.
It doesn't. Because nobody watches it.
That's
Everyone
brutal.
puts it on at night to watch the investigation shows so they can doze off.
Right.
Yeah. The ID channel.
Media, social media, search engines, all of these different platforms actively working against justice, actively working against applying the law properly, actively working against it. And yet, Jack Posobiec said this on Twitter on Friday, independent media won in the Rittenhouse case.
Absolutely.
Because what happened, that you watched NBC, or MSNBC, same company, right? All under the same umbrella. You watched MSNBC send a freelance reporter to follow the jury home. And oh no, he wasn't following them home. Why did he run red lights? You can't explain these questions. They won't answer them. So you had the media literally stalking the jury. So the gaslighting on the news, on the networks wasn't working. And I wonder why it wasn't working. Because nobody's watching, right? MSNBC is as relevant as Fox makes it.
Yeah,
dead serious.
Exactly.
MSNBC gets ratings because Tucker Carlson craps on them every night. That's the only reason why people watch. And so you watch MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all those networks.
Most people don't even know the names of these people. They just know them by the nicknames Tucker Carlson gives them.
Yeah.
Jeb Bush's flack, the angry race lady, the lesbian named Chris Hayes. I added that last one. The guy who cuts his own hair.
But then you watched as all of those people lined up and tried to leverage and lobby the jury.
The coffee's really good this morning.
It is very good this morning. They tried to lobby, although I made that cup, so I think you're really excited. They tried to lobby this case. They tried to push the jury to give them a decision that they wanted, and the jury did not give in. They held the line. We love that phrase. They did not comply. We love that. But most importantly, it wasn't about being one against the media. It was about upholding justice, and they did. Independent media won. Independent media won the day. People like us, people like you guys, everybody who got the word out and knew what really went on and ignored the mainstream media won. And that is something to take with you with the Rittenhouse case, but it's also something that I wanted to tie back into this fundraising thing. How on earth are how is the DNC? How is the DNC possibly going to be, how can they justify falling short by $2 million in this fundraising cycle when they have all of those pieces on their side? It doesn't make any sense to me. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? I'm going to go to the chat. What does it mean when you hear that the Republican Party is out fundraising the Democrat Party? What does that mean to you? When everything is up against us, when we are up against the media, social media, Google, all the big tech, when we're against, when we have the FBI being weaponized against us, the DOJ being weaponized against us, we have an unfriendly administration in the White House, an unfriendly party in power in the House of Representatives, an unfriendly party of power in the Senate. What does it mean to you that we are out, the GOP, Republicans, are out fundraising the Democrats by 2 million, despite all of these factors. What does that mean to you? It means that the power of the people, to me, this is what it means. The power of the people will always be more powerful than the power of the government. Why? Because we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The people matter. We matter. We matter more than they want us to matter. We matter more than we think we matter. But we matter. We matter. And here it is, Jen Roman. We, the people, are the majority. I'm putting that on the screen, Jen. Here you go. Jennifer Roman just read. We, the people, are the majority. We are. There are more of us than there are of them. There are. We have to start, and I'm not saying that we don't do this, because we do this. We're called a loud majority, right? But as a movement, nationwide, not just Long Island, let's start walking around with a little swagger. Huh? What do you say? What do you say we start walking around like we are who we are? Why don't we push our chests out a little bit? Hold your chin up. We're winning. And we're about to win. 22 is going to be one of the biggest red waves that we've ever seen. I'm not just saying that to get you guys excited. These fundraising numbers, these poll numbers, the other numbers that we're about to go over here, incredible. Incredible. We, the people, matter. Don't you understand? Right? And 2022, when you see this wave come crashing through, when you see the House come back into control, when you see the Senate come back into control, you're going to realize this is what it's all about. The people have the power. The people have the power to make change. We are the majority. There are more of us than there are of them. I truly believe that if we polled all 330 million people in the United States, if every legal voter voted in a poll that we put out, 70-30 at the very worst, you would see people choose our ideas over their ideas. Why have they been so successful? Because they've been louder, because they've been more organized. But I'll tell you, those days are done.
Not anymore.
Those days are done
anymore.
because they
have pushed us to the point
right
where we can't stay on. Because look, the left continues to double down on stupid. They continue to double down on stupid. They say, you know what? I mean, look, and this is not new. This is not new. In the 60s, we had a poverty problem. So what we did was we threw money at the problem. And then we threw money at the problem, and then we threw more money at the problem. And it turns out, since LBJ's war on poverty, we've spent about $19 trillion on the war on poverty. Made almost no difference.
No difference.
The same amount of poor people today as there were in 1966.
Well, think about this.
Same amount of poor people. So they continue. Look, all right, we have crumbling schools, they say. So what's their goal?
Critical race.
More money. Throw more money at it. We spend the top three most expensive school districts in the country. LAUSD, Washington, D.C. Unified School District, and New York City. Now, New York City is held up by Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech, and Bronx Science, where geniuses go. If not for that, those are the three poorest performing schools. Larry Elder, who I know you're not a big fan of, but he's big on the schools.
No, I mean, I have no problem.
He talks about how at Crenshaw High School, where he went to school, 3% of black kids in third grade read at grade levels of proficiency. If you can't read and write, you have no chance.
No chance.
No chance of doing anything, because that means you cannot count change at a 7-Eleven. That means that you can't file a W-2 form. You can't do any of these things. But they continue to throw money at the problem when sometimes the problems are at home, as many of us on the conservative right like to talk about. That maybe the problem stem from the fact that 78% of black kids born in America today will not have a father in the home. And that's not a black problem. It's a Hispanic and a white problem. I've been saying it for years. There's 6 major cultures in America: black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Jewish, and Indian. 3 of those cultures continue to rise.
Right.
Jewish, Indian, and Asian.
Right.
3 of those cultures continue to go down: black, white, Hispanic. 3 of the 3 cultures that do better all do the same thing. They focus on education. They don't have babies before they're married, and they get actual college degrees.
That's it.
And the three cultures that suck, black, white, and Hispanic, all go to school for lesbian dance theory. They have babies before they're married. And we see the perpetuation of this problem.
And when you talk about throwing money at a problem, and this is what government's Ponzi scheme is all about. Remember, find a problem. If you can't find a problem, you make a problem, right? Find a problem. If you can't find a problem, you're going to make a problem. So you fabricate a problem. Let's say it's systemic racism. There is no systemic racism in the United States of America. I'm sorry. Oops, sorry. There is no systemic racism, right?
No systemic racism.
There is no systemic racism in this country. Okay. Oh, actually, there is. It's called a Democrat-run city. Where do you see all this black on black crime? Where do you see these high murder rates? Where do you see these high incarceration rates among minorities? Are in Democrat-run cities all day long. Right?
There is one elected Republican in the city of Chicago.
I mean, listen.
One.
So you have that. Okay. So you want to talk about systemic racism? Sure, it's there.
We have 6 elected Republicans in the entire city of New York. 6.
One of them is Vicky Palladino.
One of them is one of them holds the weight of 10 giants. Yeah. Vicky Palladino. I can't wait. We're actually going to meet. We're actually going to be with another one next week. I can't pronounce her name, but she's like 28, young. Ivana. I forgot her name.
When we're doing this next week?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited. Hi, next week. I don't even. I thought today was November 14th. You heard me at the beginning of the show.
It's on the calendar.
Okay. Well, it's on the calendar. That means it's set in stone. But you have the government find a problem, fix a problem. How does government fix problems? They do what Kevin just said. They throw money at the problem. But why do they like to throw money at the problem? They throw money at the problem because if they throw enough money at the problem, they could skim a little bit off the top. It goes into the back pocket and they get rich in office. And this is what's been happening. This is the swamp. This is their game. Why did somebody like Andrew Garbarino vote for the infrastructure bill? Why does Mitt Romney behave like a rhino? Why is Adam Kinzinger crying on TV? Why are all these people?
Because he's a bitch.
Probably.
Well, that's a different reason.
But why are all these people pushing all these massive spending bills? Because they're getting something from it. They're getting something from it. Nancy Pelosi does not become somebody with this insane net worth with $17 pints of ice cream in her freezer by just being the Speaker of the House. Well, it doesn't happen.
Bro, Botox is expensive in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's expensive everywhere.
And she does that thing with her hands where she's like,
oh, well, she's a witch.
I don't know what that is.
Nothing can stop the claw.
I don't know if she had a stroke or something, but government's biggest problem is that they create a problem.
Yeah, they create the problem. They create a program to fix the problem. They fund the program, and they take the money.
So the big problem, like we just spoke about with single motherhood, they incentivized women to marry the government in the 1960s, and they made men abandon their moral and financial responsibility in terms of children. So now we have this giant single motherhood rate, giant fatherless home rate, and what does the government do? They're going to give you a child tax credit now. You're going to get every couple of months, you're going to get a check. They created the problem in the 1960s and 70s, and now they're going to pay you because of the problem that they incentivized. In the 1950s, there was no idea of a welfare queen, and a lot of people like to besmirch that term. But you know what? We all know what happens. There was a study. There was a poll done in the LA Times in the 1990s about what people think about the idea of welfare queens and whether poor people have children just to get more money from the government. They polled rich people and they polled poor people. Who do you think's better to know that answer? The rich white liberal from Marin County or Beverly Hills, or do you think the young Hispanic family from South Central is better known to answer that? The rich white liberal said, no, people don't do that. All the poor people were like, yeah, everybody does that. Everyone does that. Come on. Who do you think's better? Who do you think would know that better? The Kim Kardashians of the world or the people that clean her toilets?
Yeah, the toilet cleaners.
The toilet cleaners.
The toilet cleaners.
Kim Kardashian, or as I call her, OJ's daughter.
OJ.
And that is something I will speculate on with no problem whatsoever. Look at those shoulders. Are you kidding me?
So
she's got Heisman Trophy written all over her.
Look at this Daily Wire article. Cook political report shifts 3 Senate races towards Republican amid Biden approval rating tanking. Now, I understand we're still 11 months away from the elections, and it's too early to start saying what's exactly going to happen, but history can lend us a clue. And when you look at the Cook Political Report, this article, Daily Wire, it's in the show notes, loudmajorityus.com. Speaking of which, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Long Island Loud Majority. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell.
Share this video out with your friends, guys.
If
Distribution by proxy.
If you guys are watching on Facebook, we need you to hit that share button. We need you to post about it everywhere. Let everybody know what we're doing here. And
let everyone know that I think Kim Kardashian is
OJ's daughter.
Is OJ's daughter.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. Not Kim. The other one.
No, the other one. I don't know.
Chloe.
I don't keep up with these people. Once Bruce started calling himself Caitlyn, I said, I'm done.
There's Kim, then there's the one no one talks about, and then there's the other one.
I really don't care about the
other
Kardashians.
One. I think her name's Chloe.
And I called Caitlyn Bruce at CPAC. I said, hey, Bruce, because it's not Caitlyn.
Not for nothing, but he couldn't walk in heels to save his life.
It's okay if we can't walk in general. So
hands we're talking.
We have the Cook Political Report shifting 3 Senate races to closer to Republicans, and these are good states to keep an eye on: Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. So Georgia and Arizona.
Highlandwood.
Georgia and Arizona. Obviously, Georgia and Arizona, we've been hearing a lot about the Arizona audits. Georgia, they're trying to audit everything. Nevada, we heard last year. Now, Nevada in 2016 was a toss-up. Trump, Hillary. Last year, it went pretty much solidly for Biden. Biden won that state by around 34,000 votes. In the 2020 presidential election, those are the final numbers. I'm not going to argue about where the votes came from or if the Dominion and the mail and all these other things. We're going to just say that this is the numbers that I have to work with. The bottom line is here. That these races have been now shifted towards toss-up. So you could have another Republican senator out of Arizona. I believe Georgia's going to flip right back. And if Nevada flips, I'll tell you, there's going to be a massive, massive problem.
Well, you know who's running in Georgia for the Senate?
Herschel Walker.
Who is a god in Georgia.
Yes.
Who is I am a big University of Florida fan. Go Gators. But, Herschel Walker is a god in Georgia. If you guys watched college football back in the 80s, mind-blowing what he was able to do at UG, and he's running for Senate. He's a monster. I remember watching his college games, just being like, I remember watching Herschel Walker in college on like ESPN Classic, looking at him and thinking to myself, I thought I had a shot.
So what did you say on Friday's show? Remember what you said on Friday's show, where the Democrats need to be in order to have some sort of advantage? +5, right?
The Democrats have to be +5 in the generic ballot to keep what they have historically. At the moment, in the generic ballot.
Oh, no, I have an internal generic ballot from the Democrat Party here from hotair.com.
It was -10. What is it now?
So that wasn't internal. That was just a public, Quinnipiac poll. This is an internal poll from the Democrat Party, right, that they have here, that they're internal polls. Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee's generic ballot testing this month shows the Democrats trailing by 2 points in their own polls.
That's
bad.
And that's with them assuming that their Democratic voters are going to come out.
Yeah, that they're going to be enthusiastic and turn out here.
Well, you got to understand that in the Tea Party wave of 2010, the wave that gave us some of the most conservative members of Congress, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, like that, Democrats were +2.5. They were +2.5 in those races. Mike Lee sweeps in, and Mike Lee beat a man named Bob Bennett. He beat him to the right. Now, people didn't think there was any room to the right of a guy like Bob Bennett. And then Mike Lee showed up.
Walked in and said, I will show you.
I will show you. That is when Dave Bratt beat Eric Cantor, the third most powerful Republican in the House. He beat him to the right. Dave Bratt, I believe, was an English teacher. Just a guy. But he was to the right of Eric Cantor. Eric Cantor, a Southern Republican from South Carolina. Dave Bratt wiped the floor with him in the primaries.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, how is this happening? How is there room to the right of these people? Because what people didn't understand, that people like Bob Bennett and Eric Cantor, they talked a lot on the cameras, but they actually weren't conservatives. They were part of the uniparty, as a lot of people call it, the swamp, the mush. The people that vote for the same crab all the time and then come out on 2:00 in the morning shows and say how they really feel.
Right.
Shows at times when they know no one's watching. But people know that those guys, their time is up. Their time is up for all the talking, for all the nonsense. So, if we could find people like Dave Bratt and Mike Lee, pluck them out of obscurity and put them in Congress, Call us.
Call us. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Give us a call.
I mean, on the Real Clear Politics average, where I go to get my polling averages, 46% for Republicans, 42% rounding up to Democrats. So the Republicans lead in the Real Clear Politics average on the generic ballot by 4 points. That's a wave right there, and that's just the average. That's the average, and that's where it is right now. It's important to notice that, I mean, the Democrats, even in their own polls, are trailing by 2. So they're in trouble, but we have 11 months to go. We're not celebrating this. There's no time for a victory lap. What we have to do is keep the pedal to the metal. You play to win the game, Herman Edwards.
You play to win the game.
Hello, right? So, you don't play, just play it. But, if you're telling me you don't play to win, retire, get out. So, but you watch this. And
we let him off the hook.
We let him off the hook. The Bears are who we thought they were. Rest in peace, Dennis Green.
I'm not going to break the mic like he did.
But I would look at this and I would say, hey, you look at this chart on Real Clear Politics, I would say short the Democrats because
short the Democrats in the next election.
Short the Democrats because you may make a lot of money. Short the Dems.
I think Michael Berry is shorting the Democrats right now.
One more article on one of our favorite, Dr. Fauci. And so, America's favorite rodent, Dr. Fauci. Intercept report on Wuhan research is misleading because the term gain of function is a completely.
That's not a real. That's something. No wonder Glenn Greenwald left the Intercept.
Because gain of function is, quote, a completely meaningless term without context. So
it has a meaning.
During an interview aired on Thursday's edition of Peacock TV.
I think Peacock TV is NBC.
Oh, it's like streaming service.
It's
it
like
is.
NBC streaming
because they have the Peacock. So we have
boom, boom, boom,
doom, doom, doom. Yeah, right.
Just bring Seinfeld and Cheers back,
right. White House Chief Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci responded reporting from The Intercept on whether the NIH-funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology by stating the reporting is, quote, completely misleading because gain-of-function is a, quote, completely meaningless term unless you put it into context. Kind of like white supremacist or racist or all of these different terms. They like to call me. They like to call him.
Or your MD.
It means nothing, right? What racism is something the left doesn't like. White supremacy is something the left something I don't like either. But anytime you do something they don't like, if you speak too early, if you don't say God bless you after you sneeze, you're a white supremacist.
Well, you can't say God. You have to say
right, something else, bless you.
Something, Allah bless you.
Hey, who knows?
As Lauren Boebert so eloquently dubbed those idiots the Jihad Squad.
The Jihad Squad. And she also told Eric Swalwell what she said, you slept with Fang Fang.
You slept with a Chinese spy and you're on the intelligence. And you also farted on live TV.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Eric Swalwell is on something called the Intelligence Committee when there's no dumber man on this planet.
No dumber man.
So Anthony Fauci is now coming out and saying, well, he said, the Intercept reporting is completely misleading because gain of function is a completely meaningless term unless you put it into context. That's how Anthony Fauci.
Yeah, Fauci okay. Said. You know what? We'll put it in
Dr.
the context.
Fauci.
We'll put it in the context, Anthony Fauci. You funded gain of function research. That's the context.
Senator Paul, you have no idea what you're talking about. Now, when we meet him next month, hopefully in Arizona, I'm going to go, hey, Rand, come here. Can I call you Rand? Rand, come here.
No, you can call him Senator Paul.
I'm going to go, Rand, can you tell me how good this is? Dr. Fauci. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to just have fun. We're going to meet and Rand Paul. We're going to shake hands. We're going to have a good time. And I'm going to say, Dr. Fauci, you lied to Congress. This blows my mind the way he keeps trying to get out from underneath this gain of function stuff. And there is no out from underneath this story. He's caught red-handed. We funded the production possibly of the COVID virus. We funded the production of something. The fact that they're experimenting with viruses in this lab that have a mortality of 50% is terrifying. It's scarier than Blair's mega death sauce. And trust me, that stuff is scary.
First off, let's be clear. I will take any virus.
No, you won't.
Over Blair's mega death sauce with liquid rage.
I dealt with the Blair sauce okay. You know, the one that got me, the bomb was bad. The one that got me at the end was Hellfire. It wasn't Hellfire. No, it was Blair's. It was the second to last one that got
Blair's mega death sauce with liquid rage.
The second to last one that got me was Blair's mega death sauce with liquid rage, and I was lightheaded, almost passed out. But you were like,
I mean, look, I wasn't doing well.
You had
Yeah. Well, I think that happened because of the milk.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm not talking about during it. I mean, after. I'm talking about during. There was a little incident that
Well, I
happened in
think
the
I
government.
just had to get.
And our friend Karen, she got a great picture.
There is a picture of me, not at my best.
Not at his best.
Not at my best.
But it was a great time. I had a fun time. I'm still dealing with the after effects of it, but I had a fun time.
You ever notice that Anthony Fauci looks like one of the bankers from Harry Potter?
Yeah, we said that a couple times. Dobby, the house elf.
Yeah.
He looked like one of those goblins from Harry Potter. He sounds like them too a little bit. Senator Paul. So Anthony Fauci, again, still in hot water. Did we fund gain of function research? I think the answer is yes. Did it lead to COVID? I don't think we know yet. But I would be more likely to say that it came from a lab. It came from a lab through this way than it came from a bowl of Chinese chicken noodle soup. Possibilities.
You know what? I don't even care if it led to COVID. Why are we funding labs in China anyway?
Well, we shouldn't be worried about labs in China. How about the 22 veterans that kill themselves every day here in the United States? How about we stop foreign aid? How about that? You want to balance, take it all out. I say, you know what? Start from scratch. Nobody gets any money, and you have to come and make a case to me why Afghanistan deserves $50 million. And you're not going to make that case.
And by me, I mean us.
Yeah.
You need to, Mohammed bin Salman al-Bazir, whatever the hell your name is over in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
You got to tell us why you deserve our money.
Yeah, or our weapons.
Mohammed bin Bazir.
Something like that.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
A guy with 3 Mohammeds.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah.
You know that?
You know what? That
By
song,
the way,
that song is like the American version of every Arab prince's name.
But let me tell you something. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, his name is my name too. And on that note, we're getting close to 8 o'clock.
Yes, we're wrapping because clearly we are running out of shit to talk about.
I had a couple more, but it's nothing crazy. We had the fundraising. We're killing them on the fundraising. The Cook Political Report shows Republicans are smashing the Democrats, but there's plenty of time left. So we have momentum. Our foot's on the gas. We've got to keep it there. All gas, no brake, not like the Jets. The Jets are all brake, no gas. So, especially
it's okay.
yesterday.
It's okay. There's a kid coming out of Alabama.
Oh, great.
He's a left tackle, and apparently he's...
Is the kid coming out of Alabama's name Joe Namath? Because if not, I'm not interested. I'd rather see Joe Namath than Joe Flacco, guys.
It's all right, because tonight the Giants are playing the Bucks. And, Saquon's back, but that doesn't matter because there are 5 infants blocking for him.
Yeah.
So tonight's going to be bad, but as long as Mike Evans is a big game.
And shout out Tom Brady, the greatest of all time.
Shout out to love Tom Brady.
Whoa,
love Tom Brady.
All right, folks, 8 o'clock. We'll be back on Wednesday morning for Thanksgiving Eve in the morning show. Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Remember to head over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Long Island Loud Majority. And both of us did a good time today.
Sign up for that newsletter.
We did not block the screen. We did not block the website. Awesome job done by these 2 floating heads over here. Look at how cute. Oh. Look at that. Ooh, never mind. So
I'm a lot prettier today than I was.
You were red. You were bright red.
I matched the shirt.
You matched your FJB shirt. We couldn't tell where your shirt, where you ended, he begins.
3
liar references here. Ladies and gentlemen, until Monday morning, 7 a.m., remember to repeat these 4 words over and over and over again until the people in power finally get it or get the hell out of our way from every soapbox, street corner, rooftop, truck bed, bullhorn, et cetera, et cetera. Those 4 words, and the whole room screamed it on Saturday night, which was amazing. But you guys know what it is, and I want to see the chat do it again because it always gives me goosebumps. Look at the chat starting to fire up. The chat is firing up there. Those 4 words, those 4 words that we will say over and over and over again until the people in power finally get it or get the hell out of the way are we will not comply. Thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I love you. God bless you. God bless America. Stop complying. And as always, until Wednesday, stay loud.